Welcome to Mulready Minutes with Oklahoma Insurance Commissioner Glenn Mulready. This is a podcast about insurance for insurance folks, risk managers, and business leaders. We'll dive deep and look at what is and isn't working, talk to leaders in the industry, and keep you informed on what's happening in Oklahoma and around the country.
Welcome to another Mulready Minute podcast. Really thrilled today to have a great guest. Actually, I'm always thrilled. We have great guests often as we kind of dip into the insurance world. And today, though, we have a special guest who is a recent addition to our team here at the Oklahoma Insurance Department that I just could not be more thrilled with introducing to the world. Most of the world from Steve's lane and space absolutely know who he is. But we have with us today Steve Kinion, who is our new captive director, who just started November 1st with us. And Steve has extensive experience in the captive world, previously serving as the captive director for the state of Delaware for 13 years, if I had that right.
Yes.
Heading those up. But thought we'd give a minute here just to let you kind of go back in time a bit and give us a little bit of your background. I know there's a real interesting fact that the Oklahoma connection. So to tell us and everyone there about Steve Kinion.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Mulready, and to all the viewers of the Mulready Minutes. I'm a native Oklahoman. I'm originally from a small town in Pawnee County known as Cleveland, Oklahoma. That's just west of Tulsa, for those of you who may not be fully familiar with the map of Oklahoma. Graduate of Northeastern State University in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. That's where I obtained my bachelor's degree, and then went on to the University of Tulsa, where I obtained my law degree and my MBA. And then I worked here. My first job out of University of Tulsa was at the Oklahoma Insurance Department under then Commissioner John Crawford from 1995 to 1999. So this is a real true homecoming for me.
That's, it's funny, Steve. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think my first few guests we had on there, they all had previously worked at the department. I remember joking at one of our early ones saying that, you don't have to have previously worked at the department in order to be on our podcast, but continue.
Thank you. Well, it provided me a great background, and it's wonderful to come back to Oklahoma City, where I lived for 4 years, and see friends here I had not seen for many, many years who are still working at the department, who worked here when I worked here. After I left the department, I worked for Farmers Insurance Group for a period of time, and then moved to Springfield, Illinois, where I'm now a lawyer in a law firm there. But also, as you mentioned a moment ago, I worked for 13 years as Delaware's captive insurance director. When I was there, we moved Delaware from I use the term, a captive domicile that was not on the radar, to the third largest captive domicile in the United States and the fifth largest captive domicile in the world.
Wow. That's significant. What do those numbers look like? I mean, as far as number of captives that were there, and ended up.
As I left, there were about 736 captives in Delaware, and I think Delaware will continue to succeed under Commissioner Navarro. He's really committed to the captive insurance program. But I want to come to back to Oklahoma, to bring the captive knowledge and know-how that I have, right, to make Oklahoma a good domicile. A very good domicile that's already even better. There's always room for improvement in any captive domicile.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Steve, I think the thing that as I've been sharing about your coming that has excited me is there's nobody that I know of literally in the country with the sort of experience and knowledge in that captive space as you. And I know, been named to numerous lists. Basically, Steve's on the list of who's who in the captive world. And is seen as an expert, and is requested to speak at numerous conferences and bring that experience and knowledge. So we're excited to have it back in the state of Oklahoma.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you very much for those very kind words. As I like to say sometimes, we are not just captive regulators, that we are also captive educators. And as I have said many times, the captive insurance industry just wants guidance from the regulators. The industry will practically do everything the regulator asks. All that the industry asks is just tell us what you want us to do and be very clear about it. And that's one of the things I want to do here in Oklahoma in terms of very minute things, such as asking how to ask for a dividend for a captive, how to get that approved, to give insight to the industry and how the process works internally and how the regulators look at a dividend request, what steps the regulators go through in terms of reviewing and then approving that dividend. Once the industry understands that and understands how it works from the inside, I think it helps make a better captive process and for better regulation.
Yeah, and so you said educate there. Good segue. Yes. With whoever's watching this, we've got industry folks, we've got maybe there's insurance brokers on here, but who should consider a captive? I mean, sort of captive 101. and what opportunities are there for some of the industry folks out there?
Captive's a business that maybe has trouble procuring certain types of coverages or seeking coverage for certain types of risks that it cannot obtain coverage for in the commercial insurance market. Commissioner, there are multitudes of risks right now in the commercial insurance market that may be very difficult to place. For example, in some sectors, Side A directors and officers insurance is a challenge. Possibly, maybe if they can find, prospective insurer can find that coverage, they may not be able to find it under the terms and conditions and probably the price that they want it for. Cannabis is another industry that has difficulty obtaining insurance coverage, whether it's D&O or some other forms. Cryptocurrency businesses, setting what's happening with organizations like FTX aside, crypto is very much larger than just that. Special purpose acquisition companies. There are multitudes of industries right now that are looking for various coverages that are just not available in the commercial insurance market, or if they are available in the commercial insurance market, again, not at the terms and conditions or the price sought.
So you've rattled off some industries and folks that might consider that. How about sort of capital structures and the different ways of organizing captives?
Correct. Well, Oklahoma has what I call a menu of licensing types in which a prospective captive owner can select, whether it's a pure captive, which would be the type of captive that would insure the risks of its parents, the risks of affiliates of its parents, or something known as third-party unaffiliated business, to series captive insurance companies, which are a wonderful segue for those who are, I would say, new to the captive industry. A series captive insurance company here in Oklahoma can be formed and then later converted into another form of licensing type. One of the true aspects and the benefits of Oklahoma's captive law is its flexibility and how it can be used. That flexibility enables creativity. And one of the things that attracted me to this position and working with you, Commissioner Mulready, is you have a reputation in the insurance industry for being an entrepreneurial thinker. And that's what is needed in the captive insurance industry, because we always face entrepreneurial issues and have to think of new ways to provide coverage and new ways to regulate.
So carrying this forward, then you've got someone who is thinking, hey, that might be a good option for us. How do we look into that? How do they take steps with you, with the Oklahoma Insurance Department, or the role of a captive manager? Maybe walk through that a little bit. Sure.
Best place to start is to call me or contact me at steve.kinion.ctr@oid.ok.gov. Otherwise, check us out on the website. It's a great place to start. After that, once contact is made, I suggest a conference call or a video call or even an in-person meeting in which the thoughts and ideas can be discussed. As I said a moment ago, regulators can also be educators. And I've had multiple meetings over my 13 years in Delaware and as a private practicing attorney where captive ideas are brought to the table, they're discussed, new ideas and new ways of thinking are produced organically from those original ideas, and a great product will be developed at the end. So one way I can tell anyone who's thinking about forming a captive insurance company in Oklahoma is reach out. Let's have that discussion. I like to pride myself on being very, very accessible, and I invite you to call me.
Good. Well, to the audience, I think clearly they can see from Steve here what a wealth of information, what a resource we have here. There's lots of opportunities to establish captives or investigate that and see if that works for your company, for your association, or whatever you might have there. And so certainly couldn't be more excited, Steve, to have you here, and look forward to growing our captive business for the state of Oklahoma, bringing more business here, potentially, and hopefully bringing some more jobs here. So that's our goals, and we're glad to have you on our team. So to folks out there watching, thank you for joining us for this Mulready Minute podcast. Again, Steve Kinion, your email again?
Steve.Kinion, KINION.CTR@OID.OK, as in OK.gov.
Good. Thank you again, Steve. And if you have troubles, you can call the Oklahoma Insurance Department, reach out to Steve, and we look forward to helping you. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
If you found this episode informative, please subscribe and share with your colleagues. Visit oid.ok.gov/podcast. Let us know what topics you would like to hear about on this podcast. Until next time, take care from the Oklahoma Insurance Department.